When we are talking about friendship, what does a conflict mean? Correct response. Disagreements, arguments, and fights is the most accurate answer.
What are the biggest challenges facing on peacekeeping missions?
Solid response. Lack of resources and political support is a valid choice.
A discussion done to reach a solution to a conflict is called
Nice selection. Negotiation is the correct and valid answer.
when resolving a conflict. Which attitude should you not have?
Well-reasoned. Rage is the correct choice. When did peace and conflict studies begin to develop rapidly?
Great thinking. After World War I is the right choice.
What was the resolution in Morris? Horace, but mostly Dolores.
Well picked. They created their own club and played together is the correct answer. A conflict between area and no can become violent when dash. Right again. All of them is a valid answer. When two or more people disagree and argue, it's called a dash. Perfect. Conflict is the correct choice.
Conflict resolution - explosive behaviors and resentment.
Smart move. Dieters is an accurate answer.
Name one modern approach to the study of peace and conflict.
On track. Holistic approach is the correct answer. Which emotion is the worst when trying to resolve conflict? War. Well done. Rage is the right choice. Conflict is dash, occurs daily and is a natural occurrence. Smart pick. Uncomfortable is the correct choice. Which of the following is an example of workplace conflict? Right choice. All of the above is the best answer. Find areas of agreement is what step in conflict resolution? Valid point. Step 5 is true. What should you do if you're unable to resolve a conflict? Oh! You got it? Your choice: seek mediation or help from others is right.
What is the best communication style to use in a conflict?
Excellent. Assertive is a brilliant choice.
Name 2 mechanisms used by the UN in conflict resolution.
Bravo. Security Council resolutions and peacekeeping missions is the answer. Why is investigating the cause of the conflict important? Great job. To understand and resolve the underlying issue is the accurate answer.
What are normal feelings to experience during a conflict?
Excellent choice. Anger and frustration is the right answer. Which statement below is not a conflict resolution skill? Good job. Your answer: call the person names and shout at them works well here. Which of the following doesn't help conflict resolution? You're right. Involving other people is the correct answer. People who lack dash may experience conflict more often. You chose empathy, and it is correct. Conflict resolution promotes self-growth and builds dash. Sharp thinking. Trust is the right choice. Conflict is a dash to the way a person thinks or behaves. Nicely done. Challenge is a solid answer.
Goals are fully met for the conflict parties. This is. Nice work. You chose transcendence, and it is correct. Name the no way approach, not addressing the conflict.
Exactly. Avoid makes sense and it is right choice.
Name 2 types of conflict that often occur in society.
Correct. Intergroup and international conflicts is the right answer. How many stage is Glassell's model of conflict escalation?
Clear logic. Your choice 9 is sound and 100% true. There are dash and unhealthy ways to resolve conflict.
Good thinking. Healthy is the right answer.
What is the role of a mediator in conflict resolution?
Strong choice. To facilitate communication and help parties find a solution is the right answer.
At which point is rational calculation theory applied?
Nice work. You chose the ending of wars and it is correct.
What is the role of education in conflict prevention?
Nice selection. Increasing understanding and tolerance, reducing the risk of conflict is the correct and valid answer. Conflict resolution allows your relationships to dash. You're right. Thrive is the correct answer. Where would you go if you have a workplace conflict?
Smart pick. Hard department is the correct choice.
What was the conflict in City Mouse, Country Mouse? Excellent. They didn't like where they lived is a brilliant choice.
Where does conflict happen? Choose the best answer. Well picked. Everywhere is the correct answer. What is the definition of war in conflict studies?
Perfect. Armed conflict between 2 or more parties, usually states, is the correct choice.
How can practicing mindfulness help in a conflict?
Well reasoned. It can help us remain calm is the correct choice.
What was the resolution in Weekend with Wendell? Nicely done. Sophie gave Wendell a taste of his own medicine is a solid answer.
What is the primary goal of conflict resolution?
Solid response. To find a peaceful and mutually acceptable solution is a valid choice. Why do we need to practice conflict resolution? Correct response. To solve a conflict is the most accurate answer. A clash between ideas or behavior creates dash.
On track. Conflict is the correct answer. A lack of self-awareness can be a cause of dash.
Sharp thinking. Conflict is the right choice.
Conflict resolution is dash through a conflict.
Clear logic. Your choice problem solving is sound and 100% true, which is not a method of conflict resolution. You chose investigate, and it is correct. Which one of these is not a type of conflict?
Bravo. Manvis machine is the answer.
Dash is an act of resolving to do something. Valid point. Resolution is true. What are the benefits of conflict resolution? Great job. Teaches us to listen is the accurate answer. What's a good method for resolving conflict? Exactly. Explain your needs clearly makes sense and it is right choice. What is the resolution of Joy and Heron? Excellent choice. Joy gives heron worms. Heron gives joy fish is the right answer.
The second step in conflict resolution is
Well done. Develop a clear plan is the right choice.
What conflict outcome is most desirable?
Strong choice. You win, they win is the right answer.
What is the conflict of Joy and Heron? Smart move. Joy does not want to give Heron worms is an accurate answer.
When solving conflict, dash the problem. You got it? Your choice identify is right.
What type of conflict do the boys face?
Good job. Your answer character vs character tags 3.5. I works well here.
What type of conflict is in this story?
Correct. Character vs self is the right answer.
What does redirect the conflict mean?
Great thinking. Turn the conflict into a fruitful conversation is the right choice.
Dash is a state of prolonged fighting. Good thinking. Conflict is the right answer. To resolve a conflict, you need to dash.
Right again. All of the above is a valid answer,
Which is not conflict resolution mode. Right choice. Controlling is the best answer. All are ways to avoid conflict except.
Nicely done. Pick up a fight is a solid answer.
How many types of conflict are there?
Great job. 4 is the accurate answer.
Which of these counts as a conflict?
Smart pick.
All of the above is the correct choice. What is the definition of conflict? Right again. A serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted one, is a valid answer. Is any clash of ideas or interests? Well reasoned. Conflict is the correct choice. What is a way to resolve conflict? Sharp thinking. Compromising is the right choice.
How to resolve conflict resolution?
Well done. Talk and listen to the other person is the right choice. How did the Bosnian conflict end? You got it? Your choice ceasefire is right. In a conflict, the enemy is dash. Correct. The problem trying to be solved is the right answer. What is a synonym for conflict?
Great thinking. A fight or struggle is the right choice.
How is the conflict resolved?
You chose the boys play rock, paper, scissors to decide fairly. And it is correct.
What is conflict resolution?
Valid point. Managing and resolving conflicts peacefully is true.
Conflict resolution is dash.
Smart move. Negotiating diplomatic solutions to personal workplace issues is an accurate answer.
What is a conflict trap?
Right choice. When someone provokes you to respond angrily is the best answer.
How to resolve a conflict?
Strong choice. Actively listen is the right answer. What can start a conflict? Nice selection. Saying hurtful things is the correct and valid answer. How do you define peace? Perfect. Conditions with justice and prosperity without violence is the correct choice. What is a resolution? Good job. Your answer a solution works well here. What is a conflict? Well picked. A problem is the correct answer. What is a mediator?
Bravo. A person who helps people solve conflicts together is the answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format.
Good thinking. Contact Narayan Changda is the right answer